When we talk about staying healthy after 50, the first thing people tend to think about is what not to do. Don't eat too much sugar. Don't stay up too late. Don't skip your medications. But let's shift that perspective. Instead of focusing on what you shouldn't do, let's focus on what you must do. And at the top of that list is movement. Movement is not just exercise. It is the single most powerful prescription we have for protecting both body and brain as we age. Think of it as medicine, only better, because it has no side effects except vitality. Now, I don't mean you have to go out and train for a marathon at 55 or push heavy weights at the gym. What I'm talking about is consistent daily activity, walking, stretching, gardening, yoga, even dancing in your living room. After the age of 50, your body begins to lose muscle mass naturally. The technical term is sarcopenia, and that loss of muscle doesn't just mean weakness. It increases your risk of falls, slows your metabolism, and even impacts how your immune system works. A body in motion resists decline, while a body at rest accelerates it. That's why the simple act of moving every day becomes not a luxury, but a necessity. Movement also protects the brain. We now know that exercise is one of the most powerful defenses against memory decline, Alzheimer's, and depression. When you move, your body releases chemicals like BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which literally helps grow and protect brain cells. It's like fertilizer for the mind. That's why older adults who walk daily, who swim, or who cycle are not only stronger in their bodies, but sharper in their thinking. They remember better, they solve problems better, and they carry an optimism about life that often fades when the body becomes stagnant. There's also a deeper philosophical truth here. Movement is a reminder of life's momentum. When we stop moving, in many ways, we stop living. Human beings were designed to walk, to bend, to reach, to stretch, to carry. Our ancestors didn't retire at 60 and sit still. Their survival depended on their ability to move. That biological legacy is still in us. The tragedy of modern life is that it convinces us to sit more, rest more, rely on machines more, and that slow decline feels normal, but it is not inevitable. The body is meant to age, yes, but it is also meant to move until the very last chapter of life. Now, I often hear patients tell me, "Doctor, I don't have the energy to move. I feel tired all the time." And I remind them that energy doesn't precede movement, it follows it. You don't move because you have energy, you gain energy because you move. The heart pumps stronger, circulation improves, oxygen fills your cells, and the mitochondria, the little powerhouses of your body, wake up and start fueling you again. In this way, movement is not just about preventing decline, it's about creating renewal. And let's not ignore the emotional side. Movement reduces stress, not only by lowering cortisol levels, but by shifting the mind away from worry and into presence. When you walk outside, when you stretch your body, when you take a deep breath during a yoga pose, you are sending a signal to your nervous system that says you are safe, you are capable, you are alive. That calm spreads into every part of your day. How you speak to your loved ones, how you react to challenges, how you see yourself in the mirror. Aging with dignity and strength is as much about the mind as it is about the muscles, and movement bridges the two. So what does this look like in daily life? It doesn't require hours. 15 minutes of brisk walking in the morning, 10 minutes of stretching before bed, standing up and moving every hour if you work at a desk. These are not radical changes, but they add up. They protect your bones, keep your blood sugar stable, and preserve balance so you don't stumble or fall. Even household chores, gardening, or carrying groceries count as functional movement. The key is consistency. The body doesn't demand perfection. It simply demands regularity. If we reframe movement from exercise to lifelong insurance, it becomes easier to embrace. Insurance for your independence, insurance for your memory, insurance for your joy. That is the secret many people miss. Aging well is less about medical breakthroughs and more about simple, repeatable actions that anyone can do. And perhaps the most beautiful truth is this: no matter when you start, it's never too late to benefit. I have seen patients in their 70s who began strength training for the first time, and within months, they walked taller, slept better, and rediscovered confidence they thought was gone forever. So, as you think about your own journey beyond 50, remember this motion is not just an act of health. It is an act of defiance against decline. Every step you take, every stretch you hold, every time you choose movement over stillness, you are sending a message to your body and to your spirit that you are not finished, that you are not fading, you are still becoming. The truth is simple. The body that keeps moving is the body that keeps living, and the choice to move is in your hands starting today. When we cross the milestone of 50, the conversation about health naturally shifts from short-term fixes to long-term sustainability. And central to that conversation is nutrition. The food we eat at this stage of life carries a weight far greater than calories. It becomes the language we speak to ourselves, the blueprint we hand over to our organs, and the signal we send to our brain and body about whether to grow, repair, or decline. It is no longer simply about eating to fill hunger. It is about eating to preserve strength, to maintain clarity, and to safeguard independence. One of the greatest misconceptions about diet after 50 is that it must be restrictive, that you need to eliminate joy from the table in order to stay healthy. But real nourishment is not about deprivation. It's about intention. The problem isn't food itself, but the wrong kind of food. Ultra-processed meals packed with additives, refined sugars, and empty starches dominate modern eating habits, and the cost is visible in the rising rates of obesity, diabetes, and cognitive decline in older adults. When you're young, your body can tolerate years of nutritional neglect. Metabolism runs faster, repair is more forgiving, but after 50, the margin for error narrows. Every meal either contributes to healing or accelerates wear and tear. At the heart of healthy nutrition in the second half of life is quality. Lean proteins, fresh vegetables, healthy fats, and whole grains are not simply better options, they are medicine disguised as food. Protein becomes critical for protecting muscle mass, which, as we discussed, begins to decline naturally with age. Omega-3 fats from fish, nuts, and seeds protect the brain and reduce inflammation, helping to preserve memory and lower the risk of heart disease. Fiber from vegetables and whole grains stabilizes blood sugar and nurtures the gut microbiome, which is now understood to play a profound role not only in digestion, but in immunity, mood, and even cognition. In this way, food becomes more than fuel. It becomes a system of maintenance for the whole organism. But there's also a psychological element we cannot ignore. Many people after 50 fall into one of two traps. Either they neglect nutrition altogether, convincing themselves that at this stage it's too late to change, or they swing to extremes, adopting rigid, joyless diets that are unsustainable. Both approaches are harmful. What works is not punishment, but balance. Building meals that you enjoy, that give you energy, and that you can sustain for decades. Because the truth is, food is not just chemistry, it is also culture, comfort, and connection. When shared with loved ones, when prepared with intention, it nourishes the spirit as much as the body. Think about hydration as well. It's one of the most overlooked aspects of nutrition, yet dehydration is rampant among older adults. As we age, the thirst mechanism dulls. We don't feel thirsty even when our cells are desperate for water. That's why fatigue, dizziness, or confusion often creep in unnoticed, when the real culprit is simply dehydration. Water is the medium through which every metabolic process occurs. Without it, nutrients cannot be delivered, toxins cannot be removed, and the brain cannot function at full capacity. Making hydration a daily priority is one of the simplest yet most profound ways to safeguard vitality after 50. There is also an emotional weight to food choices at this stage of life. Every bite is, in a sense, a message to yourself. Do you still value your body enough to protect it? Do you still see your life as worthy of care and intention? This is where nutrition intersects with philosophy. Eating well is not just about living longer. It is about living better. It is about having the energy to play with your grandchildren, the clarity to enjoy conversations, the strength to travel, the resilience to recover from setbacks. Food becomes an act of self-respect, a daily affirmation that you are still investing in the future. I often tell people, if you want to see your health in 10 years, look at what's on your plate today. Small, daily choices accumulate into profound outcomes. The good news is that the body responds quickly to positive change. Replace sugar with fiber, replace fried oils with olive oil, replace packaged snacks with nuts or fruit, and within weeks energy rises, sleep improves, and inflammation drops. You begin to feel the difference, and that feeling is its own motivation to keep going. The beauty of nutrition after 50 is that it's not about perfection, it's about direction. Are you moving toward nourishment or toward depletion? Are your meals reinforcing your strength or eroding it? Once you reframe nutrition as empowerment rather than restriction, you begin to realize that every meal is an opportunity. You don't need to fear food. You need to reclaim it as one of the greatest tools for longevity and vitality that you will ever have. So as you sit down at your next meal, remember this: the fork in your hand is more powerful than any prescription in a bottle. Every bite is a choice, every meal a message. Choose wisely, not out of fear, but out of love, for your body, for your mind, and for the years still waiting to be lived. Movement after 50 is not just about exercise, it's about reclaiming the natural rhythm of the body. Too often we reduce physical activity to a checklist. 30 minutes at the gym, a jog in the park, a yoga class. But what happens as we age is not only the loss of strength or flexibility, it's the loss of movement as a philosophy of living. We spend more time sitting, more time avoiding stairs, more time watching rather than doing. Slowly, the body forgets how to be alive in its own design, and that forgetting accelerates decline far more than age itself. When I talk to people about health in their 50s and beyond, I remind them that the human body is built for motion. The heart pumps more efficiently when challenged, the lungs expand when you breathe deeply during activity, the bones strengthen under the stress of weight-bearing movement. Muscles, joints, even the brain, every system comes alive when you move. The opposite is also true. Stillness sends a signal of surrender. When the body is not used, it begins to conserve energy by shutting down capacity. That's why inactivity is so dangerous. It tells the body you don't need vitality anymore, so it starts to take it away. But here's the truth. Movement after 50 doesn't have to mean extreme workouts or punishing regimens. It's about choosing consistency over intensity. A daily walk, light resistance training, gardening, even dancing in your living room. All of these are forms of medicine. They reduce blood pressure, balance hormones, release endorphins, and keep the metabolism responsive. The greatest misconception is that exercise at this stage is about pushing harder. In reality, it's about moving smarter. It's about engaging in activities you enjoy, ones you can sustain for decades, because sustainability, not short-term intensity, is what extends life. There is also a deeper psychological dimension here. Movement is not just physical, it is symbolic. When you choose to get up and walk, when you bend and stretch, when you challenge yourself with new activities, you are sending a message to your own mind. I am still here. I am still capable. I am still engaged with the world. Every time you step into motion, you strengthen not only your muscles, but also your identity. You remind yourself that you are not defined by age or limitation, but by action. In many cultures, aging is associated with stillness, with retreating into passivity. But the healthiest societies, those with the longest lived populations, integrate movement seamlessly into daily life. They walk to the market, they work in the garden, they climb hills to visit neighbors. Movement is not something they schedule, it's something they embody. That's the model we should learn from. Instead of confining exercise to a rigid slot in the calendar, we should weave motion into every hour, taking the stairs, stretching during phone calls, standing instead of sitting, walking with friends rather than meeting for coffee in a chair. Small habits create a lifestyle, and a lifestyle creates longevity. Another truth we need to confront is fear. Many people after 50 avoid exercise not because they lack time, but because they fear injury or believe it's too late to start. But the science is overwhelmingly clear. It is never too late to move, and the body responds at every age. Strength training at 70 can still increase muscle mass. Aerobic activity at 80 can still improve heart function. Flexibility work at 90 can still prevent falls. The only barrier is not the body, it is the belief that movement is no longer possible. Once that belief shifts, once motion becomes a mindset rather than a burden, transformation begins. And let's not forget the role of movement in emotional well-being. Exercise is nature's antidepressant. When you walk briskly, when you stretch deeply, when you breathe in rhythm with your steps, your brain releases neurotransmitters that elevate mood, reduce anxiety, and sharpen focus. For many, this is the missing link between physical and mental health after 50. Movement becomes a way to process stress, to channel emotion, to reawaken joy. In a world where so many seek relief in pills, screens, or distractions, the body itself holds the cure, if only we allow it to move. Think of it this way, life itself is motion. The heart never stops beating, the lungs never stop expanding, the blood never stops circulating. To be alive is to be in constant flow. When we choose to move, we align ourselves with life's very nature. When we choose to stay still, we resist it. This is why motion feels so good. It is the body returning to its truth. So the question is not whether you can move, but whether you will move. Will you give your body the gift of circulation, strength, flexibility, and energy? Or will you deny it and slowly watch capacity slip away? After 50, every step matters more. Every stretch is more meaningful. Every breath during activity is a declaration that life is still unfolding, still worth engaging in, still full of possibility. And that is the invitation. Don't let age become an excuse for stillness. Let it become the reason for motion. Because in every step, in every stretch, in every moment of movement, you are not only preserving your body, you are affirming your will to live fully. Remember, this motion is not optional, it is life itself. Keep moving and life will keep moving through you. One of the most overlooked aspects of staying healthy after 50 is not what's happening in the body, but what's happening in the mind. You can eat all the right foods, stay committed to exercise, and schedule every preventive check-up. But if your thoughts are consumed by stress, if your days are marked by loneliness, if your sense of purpose begins to fade, then health becomes fragile. The mind and body are not separate. They are partners in the same journey. And what you carry emotionally will always find expression physically. Science shows us again and again that stress is not just a feeling. It's a biological storm. Cortisol, adrenaline, and inflammatory chemicals flood the system when we live in constant worry. Over time, that storm wears down the heart, weakens immunity, disturbs sleep, and accelerates aging. You can see it in people's faces, the stress lines, the tension in the jaw, the tiredness in the eyes. But what's more dangerous is the stress you can't see. The silent pressure on your arteries, the subtle weakening of your defenses against illness. This is why cultivating emotional resilience is as essential as managing blood pressure or cholesterol. But resilience doesn't mean pretending everything is fine. It means creating the inner capacity to bend without breaking, to experience challenges without letting them define you. And the way we build that resilience after 50 is through connection, purpose, and perspective. Let me explain. Connection is one of the strongest predictors of health in later years. People who maintain friendships, who stay engaged with their families, who remain part of communities, whether religious, social, or service-based, live longer, happier lives. Loneliness, on the other hand, is as damaging as smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. It literally shortens lifespan. Why? Because the human nervous system is wired for belonging. Isolation tells the brain that we are unsafe, and the body responds with chronic stress. When you pick up the phone to call a friend, when you meet your neighbor for a walk, when you share a meal with loved ones, you are not just socializing, you are healing. Purpose is another essential ingredient. At 50, many people begin to ask, what now? Children may be grown, careers may be winding down, routines may feel stale. Without purpose, the days lose meaning and the spirit begins to dim. Yet, research on long-lived populations shows that having a reason to get up in the morning, whether it's tending a garden, volunteering, mentoring, or pursuing creative passions, dramatically improves longevity. Purpose gives energy to the body because it gives direction to the mind. It's not about chasing achievements, it's about waking up with a sense of contribution, no matter how small. Then comes perspective. Aging often brings challenges, aches, losses, unexpected changes. But it also brings wisdom, perspective, and an opportunity to shift from chasing to savoring. Perspective allows us to see stress not as an enemy, but as a teacher. Every obstacle holds within it a lesson. Every setback contains a hidden strength. When you approach life after 50 with perspective, you stop fearing the passage of time and begin embracing the richness it brings. That mindset alone lowers stress, sharpens focus, and deepens contentment. There is also something profoundly healing about gratitude. When we train the mind to notice what is still working, what is still beautiful, what is still possible, the nervous system relaxes. Gratitude is not denial, it's recognition. It doesn't erase hardship, but it balances it. A simple daily practice of naming 3 things you are grateful for can shift your physiology, boost your immunity, and improve your sleep. It's astonishing, but true. What we think about regularly becomes the chemistry of our bodies. Of course, emotional well-being is not just about avoiding stress, it's also about cultivating joy. Joy is not childish, it's medicinal. Laughter improves circulation, releases endorphins, and strengthens the immune system. Playfulness keeps the brain flexible. Engaging in music, art, hobbies, or simply spending time in nature, all of these feed the emotional core in ways no pill ever could. At this stage of life, joy is not a luxury, it is a necessity. So when we talk about health after 50, we must understand that emotional fitness is as critical as physical fitness. One cannot stand without the other. A nourished body without a nourished mind is incomplete. And here's the empowering truth: no matter your circumstances, no matter your age, you have the power to choose your thoughts, your perspective, your connections. That choice will ripple through every cell in your body. Let me leave you with this. Health is not just about extending years, it's about enriching them. The body thrives on movement, the mind thrives on meaning, and the spirit thrives on connection. If you want to live not only longer but better, nurture your emotional well-being as diligently as you care for your physical body. Because in the end, it is peace of mind, a sense of belonging, and a life lived with purpose that give health its deepest meaning. Remember this, your body listens to your mind. What you feed it, whether fear or hope, despair or gratitude, becomes the story your cells live out. Choose wisely, because the story you tell yourself after 50 can be one of decline, or it can be one of vitality, and the choice always is yours.